What's up, everybody? It's Friday. We got to talk about what's happening in the market. We got to sell it all. What the heck am I talking about? Well, I'm going to let you know exactly what I'm talking about because I think you're going to be interested. It's going to be something good for your crypto bags, but it all depends on how you navigate this and what is it that we're going to be selling. We got to dive into that. The charts are they had a pretty decent sell-off last night to almost the exact level that I discussed on the charts and in the Discord and in the members areas out there, letting you know exactly what I've been watching and where to look for different price action for bounces, rejections. And we're going to be diving in here in just a second. So let's go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, head over to the Twitter pages, whether it's at Academy BitLab or at Kellam, and go ahead and hit that retweet button, hit that little like button, and check the comments down below if you want to join the free traders group or get nordvpn.com/BitLab. But we're going to be diving in here in just a second. Let's get those tunes playing.
Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. SEC and its policies rely on whatever Gary thinks. Bitcoin's a flight to quality. I heard that from Larry Fink. Every hour losing purchasing power on food and shelter. It's not our fault. Blame the cult. It's the political cowards. When it comes to gas, our purchasing power just got cut in half. I sit back and laugh, open my bag, fill it with stacks and sats. Bitcoin, pumping, altcoins, pumping. I've been preparing for this. Can't tell me nothing.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a flight to quality. We are hearing from clients around the world.
Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as
Bitcoin, pump, altcoin, pump.
we are hearing from clients around the world.
Can't nobody tell me nothing.
Crypto, depending on how you think about it. And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a
Can't
flight
nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump.
We are hearing from clients around the world.
Are you ready to dive into it? We got the vibes going. We got to talk about what we got to sell. We got to talk about what these charts are letting us know about what's going on in the market. We got some big news today and also a couple major warning shots across the bow that is a little bit scary. So everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. We only have 13 likes. Got 76 people in here. So everybody show some love. Let's see you live in chat. I'm watching all of your comments, but let's go ahead and get into it. Streaming from my house today here on Friday. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. We got to talk about what's going on because the price is just doing exactly what I was talking about. Swinging up, swinging down, swinging all around. I didn't adjust this. All I did was now zoom into it. But we had this level here, watching for the potential bull flag. Remember, I did call out it was a potential bull flag. We had to watch if we did lose this level that we were going to come down likely to test in this region. What did we do? We came down, look, initially bounced right on this region. I just want to make sure, I'm not muted. And then we had a little bit more of a washout, and look at where that went, right to that next, basically right in this exact zone. Boom, right here that we talked about. That's exactly where we went into. We got into a trade last night in the Signals Lab. Basically the entry was right in this area. I got stopped out, got back in, and then did not set my stop loss. I was doing it through my phone while I was on a Twitter Spaces and watching football. So ended up going down and then coming back up, and I closed out somewhere up in this region. So it was actually good because I would have been It's kind of stupid, but that's why you got to make sure. I even talk about it in BitLab Academy, making sure that if you are trading, you're doing it on a computer or somewhere that you're fully focused. But big love to you all. It says good audio, video good here. I hope. Is audio, video good? Let me know. I hope there's no issue. I am streaming from my home setup, but we're seeing price action come down here, flush this out, come back up. But what are we talking about today? We're talking about selling it all. Why are you talking about selling it all, Kelly? You've been so bullish. Well, it's all in the context of what we're looking at in the market and what is going on in the various different asset classes, and also making sure we are best positioned. Falco with 5 gifted memberships. Big love to you, my friend. I appreciate you. And also quadruple double, I'll say Cinco shout out for yesterday. You gave a $5 super chat that I did not see until right when I was closing. My apologies. I got the screen right here in front of me though, so I could see all your super chats and all the gifted memberships today. I appreciate you all so much. But let's go ahead and talk about a little bit more what we want to talk about. We've got 138 people in the room. We'll have a couple hundred more here in a few minutes. But again, my name's Kelly Kellam. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream. I'm here to bring you meaningful tools, content, resources, and this incredible, empowering community that we have here. Let's start the day with some gratitude. Let's end the work week with some gratitude. The market is looking absolutely beautiful right now. When we zoom out and look at this on the larger time frame chart, this is just pushing up and to the right. When we look at the time box, this is that box that we've outlined for months ahead of this happening. Back in here, I outlined this box about where I thought the price action was going to start pushing up. We got the reversal formation into this sort of time allocated area, or identified area, I should say. And we are still sitting up here looking quite good. I guess that's just a little trading signal I had in there. But right now, just look at this. I just want you to notice, see where this is bouncing? I want you to notice where this is bouncing. This line is not arbitrary. This line, if we zoom out and go all the way back, this is that box that we outlined from the 2 previous highs in 2021. This is that base, and we're going to talk more about this in a second because this is setting up for something. This lines up right into what we're talking about when we say sell it all. Well, what am I talking about selling? So let's go ahead and get into it. First off, let's take just a bit of a gander at what's going on in the market, and it looks like everything's red. And what does it mean right now when we're about to have that explosive action to the upside sometime in the very, 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 so incredibly very near future? This is saying that we still have opportunity to stack into different coins, or if you don't have any dry powder on the sidelines, making sure that you can sit on your hands. You don't need to make a trade every single second of the day. Sometimes no trade is the best trade. Now, when we come back over to, let's go ahead. I don't know why it's not loading. Let's go back here. We're still sitting here in that same range, $2.3, $2.4 trillion. The market is just coiling up like a spring. So this is what we're looking for. This is that big, what the hell is going on with my fucking internet? I don't know. You guys pay for 1 gigabit internet connection and get like basically 14.4 modem. It makes me so mad. But this is what we're looking at. I apologize for the language. But let's look at this. This is that if you're looking at this in terms of a bearish structure, this would show a massive crash was coming. But this is actually an inverted chart suggesting that we've got a major move to the upside. And this is what we're looking for right now. So let's talk about why, though. Let's talk about what it is we need to sell, and we're going to get to that. But the average Bitcoin return in November is 42.88%. But there's something I just want to look into context here. We have this massive number here that I think completely distorts it. This is 2013. So let's go ahead. I'm going to do the math really quick. Let's do it because I should have done this ahead of time, but I was getting other things set up. So we got 8.8 plus 42.95 plus 53. I'm just going to do the round numbers. 5 plus 19 plus 12. All right. Now that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 divided by 6. So that would say this is a more reasonable number to look for, somewhere in the 23, maybe up to 30% range. It's all going to depend on what happens a little bit with the certainty. I don't even want to say it matters what person goes in. the certainty around what happens next week and how delayed decisions are on that. And if there's any more, as you saw yesterday, there was some big news that came out about potential retaliation from Iran. That's about when the market started tanking. So barring us not having another sort of log thrown on the fire there and having some certainty that comes in next week about what the decision is, I think we will have a very bullish November, most likely. Now, do I think we're going to get a 42.8% push to the upside? I think this is lofty. If that happens, great. But I think we need to be a little bit, mitigate our expectations a little bit. So, somewhere between 15 and 30% would be fantastic. And if it's beyond that, great. But let's not overshoot what our expectations are. Now, continuing on, what do we see? This is that news that came out this morning. The Labor Department slashes job numbers, 112,000 fewer jobs than reported. The Labor Department revised August and September job gains down by 112,000. Now, this is important because the job data came out this morning that the non-farm payroll is about 12,000, which was down from, I don't even remember. Let me actually pull that up really quick. I know Caleb posted it. Oops, that's not what I want to do. X.com. Oops. X.com. X.com. There we go. All right. Caleb Franzen. Here we go. And he posted about it. Where is it at? I believe it's 12,000. All right. You know what? Screw that. Forex factory calendar. There we go. And that is, what is today? Today is the 1st. So boom, right here. That would be USD. Where's non-farm payroll? Non-farm payroll, 12,000. The expectation was 106,000. The reason why I wanted to make sure to outline this is because we see that they revised down August, September, 112,000. Their expectation, we can see this right here. So this was, here's 12,000, but they revised this down from 254 down. You could see them basically revising down. So if we're at 12,000 now, are they going to revise this down further? They've revised nearly 1 million jobs have been revised lower over the last 2 years. And I don't want to say this is political, and I don't want to make this political, and I'm not political. It's just the time of where we're at right now with what's happening with the crypto market and trying to figure out what's going on with the economy and forward looking about what to expect, what is going on with the current administration. And with all these different job numbers that they're basically making, they tried to make the job environment look way stronger than it was. Nearly 1 million jobs have been revised lower over 2 years. In the last 2 years. And now we're coming right into the very end of the year, and it's starting to show because look at this, 12,000 jobs that we actually have on the non-farm payroll. So that's a big deal. I do think that does give us a little bit. Let's go ahead and interact with that. It does give us a little bit. I don't know. Did somebody come in and change my tabs? Because I had a whole different order that was going on here. Essentially, that gives us a little bit, I don't want to say permission, but it gives a likelihood of that rate cut in the coming days for the next FOMC meeting. Now, this is important because sell it all. What are we selling all of? Well, first off, let's shout out. It was Halloween last night. Shout out to everybody, whether or not you're hanging out at a campfire and having small kids come up and scare you, only to find out it was your sister that came to visit. It doesn't matter what it was. If you were having a good time with friends, family out there in your neighborhoods, I hope you all had a wonderful time. You were safe. My heart goes out to those people that were, involved in that mass shooting that happened in Orlando. So I do, that just came across my mind. I thought it was important to address that. We all need to be more of a community and give love to the people that are in and around our circles. Treat everybody like a community, because that's what this is about. We need to practice love. We need to practice positivity, empowerment. We need to speak honestly. We need to be able to hear something we don't agree with and say, why do you feel that? So that's what we're thinking about. So now what are we talking about? Let's get back into it. Sell it all. Well, let's look at what happened. This is that chart. Again, for those of you that were watching about a month ago, I was trying to find a chart for like 10 minutes. This is that chart. I've shared it before, but this, just to very simplify it, remember the economic crisis that happened in 2008. This is the liabilities, unrealized losses that banks were holding around that time in 2008 into 2009 when we had the economic catastrophe. Look at where we are right now. Look at where we are right now. This is the absolute catastrophe that we are in right now. It's basically stealth destruction that's happening in our economy that nobody talks about. Look at the losses here that are being held by banks. This is absolutely terrible. This is so forewarning about what's going on in the market. So my question to you is, what are we selling? What are we selling? Well, we're going to get to that. Realize that also we saw, MicroStrategy, they're adding $42 billion in Bitcoin buying over the next 3 years, getting basically doubling their exposure. It's going to depend on price action, but it's going to about double their exposure to what they have in the bank. What they're holding in Bitcoin. But also we're seeing this trickle over because I know this isn't MicroStrategy, but MetaPlanet is that Japanese company that's basically took on the Bitcoin standard, and they now have a Bitcoin strategy where they're basically they're trying to, I don't want to say trying to be, they're emulating some of that Bitcoin the Bitcoin strategy playbook that MicroStrategy used. And now what do you see? It's the top performing stock in Japan. And that's because they are so actively involving themselves in the Bitcoin strategy. Moving on, this is what I was talking about. $42 billion Bitcoin plan already spent $3.9 billion buying Bitcoin this year, will increase by 2.5x next year. So this is important, and I don't know where it is. I posted it somewhere. It might be over here. Yeah, it's right here. What if this means that there's no more regular 4-year cycle? What if the $42 billion Bitcoin buy, which is over 3 years, and based on the 4-year cycle, we should be starting a bear market sometime next year, whether it be in the middle or the end, where you get the top and you start breaking down for the next 3 years. But now we have the next 3 years of a $42 billion buy plan for Bitcoin from one institution. This doesn't even account for what happens when you get the Fortune 100 and the Fortune 500, which are basically the top stocks, the top companies in the US and the world that are, once they, obviously we have the fair value accounting rules going live in December, but then we also have Microsoft having a shareholders meeting where they're going to be discussing whether or not they should be holding Bitcoin on their balance sheets. This is starting that race. MicroStrategy started it. Everybody laughed him. Everybody laughed him off Wall Street. 3 years later, he's now up $8 billion. Now every company in the world is put on notice because they are the best performing stock in the world. It's a stock, but why is their stock performing so well? It's because they transitioned from just being a software company to being a Bitcoin development company, and their plan to buy and hold Bitcoin and also basically become essentially an institutional bank for Bitcoin over time. People are buying MicroStrategy, not even because they fully care about the back end there. They just realize if I hold MicroStrategy stock, then I'm basically getting more and more exposure to Bitcoin over time as MicroStrategy buys more Bitcoin, because you're buying sort of a representation of the ownership of that company. If the company owns more Bitcoin, you there in part have a higher exposure to Bitcoin. So it's essentially like a beta stock that is a proxy to basically getting exposure to Bitcoin. It essentially was acting somewhat like an ETF before ETFs got around, and they're just buying more and more. So it's like having a leveraged ETF. And so what does this mean? Does this mean we may not have a 4-year cycle? Well, I just call for you all right now to define your long-term hold strategy and your profit strategy now, because this is probably going to also need to adapt over time as this market matures. Price will still have corrections, but will they comparatively be muted to the downside? We're going to have to watch. Do not buy at any time previous to now and then look to only sell at a blow off top, and then you're not going to buy unless we drop 80%. That may never happen again. We may only get 40% drop or a 35%, or we're going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to see how this plays out. We're going to have to see how many institutions and how many people and how much appetite there is for the ETFs between now and then, and how it starts to go when we start getting those larger pullbacks beyond 25% and so on and so forth. But times are changing, and it's exciting as it can be right now. And I'm happy each and every one of you are here. So let's get back. This is a setup for absolute failure of what's happening in our economy. Then we see MicroStrategy buying like mad. We see the fact that, yes, things are swinging around, but this is just chopping you out. This is just the liquidity, the amount of orders that will be closed, forced. Basically, if you're long here and this comes down, forces you closed. This is free liquidity in the markets. It came up here, flushed this out. Now it's coming down here, flushing this out. We've got a little bit more work to do here, but we're going to get into the TA here in just a few minutes. But the question is, what are we selling? Well, look at this chart, and I want you all to ask yourself right now. Ask yourself right now, what do you think I'm talking about? I'm suggesting to sell. And I'm not telling you all to do anything. I'm not telling you this is all strategy advice. It's thoughts. It's entertainment, but I'm sharing my experience. When I look at this chart tells me something's coming. This chart tells me, which we have not seen previously, that we have a rejection here, a rejection here. It's come back up, rejection, but we're starting to break out. We formed an incredible base here for the next leg to the upside. And the reason why this is important, let's go ahead and hit that like button, show the real plan, see some love, a friend of mine in the space, always great charts. But we look at this is why it's important. This is a cycle played out over and over and over. So we have the bear market, consolidation, bull market, bear market, consolidation, AKA accumulation. It's accumulation. People are buying, shaking out all the weak hands, and then long-term holders buy. They hold all the way up into this level, and then they take profits into this portion here. The problem now is this time different? Because we're seeing the same thing play out, but this time we got a big impulse back down. Excuse me. And the price action, you can see small little consolidation right there, and then the breakout. But this was that all-time high test. Look at this, all-time high test, up. You can't see it back there because it's under my photo. But then we're looking at where we're at right now. We just had a slow burn all the way up into this, and then a 7-month accumulation at previous all-time highs with the strongest buying pressure in history, with these institutions aping in, the ETFs, and it is, presidential. It's on the presidential sort of debate stage and policy and what people are going to do, who's for, who's against, how are you going to be supportive of this? And the truth is, at this point, Bitcoin is going to be fine regardless of the candidate. The question is going to be the broader crypto ecosystem. But this is telling me up is next. And so what does up is next mean? If you're buying anywhere in here, I'm, for the most part, all in on crypto. I have some other small investments, but I'm pretty much all in. So when I have any capital that's I don't want to say extra capital, unbudgeted capital, that's not going to affect my life and my bills and, stuff like that. Cause we all have that. No matter where you're at in life, everybody has responsibilities. You have bills, you have different things that you have to pay attention to. And so for me, when I get any extra capital, free capital, I sell those dollars. I sell them all, and I buy Bitcoin. By buying Bitcoin, you are selling dollars. By buying crypto, you're selling dollars. Maybe you're trading it for another crypto, but at the end of the day, we are looking at the best evolution of our time is the blockchain ecosystem and the crypto assets that we can participate in. And it's up to each and every one of us to figure out what is the right crypto for our strategy, for our risk tolerance, for what our time horizon is, what it is that we want to do, because this is the time. This is like investing in the railroad 100 years before the railroad existed, because of how fast technology moves now. And some people look at this and they go, but I'm so late. You are not late. People here thought they were late. Even if they bought this top here and just held, they would have tripled their investment to there. That doesn't even account for if they bought here and then DCA, dollar cost averaged on the way down, and continued buying down here at $3,100 and then had that growth all the way up into here. The same thing is going to play out because one thing is true about Bitcoin. It is fixed at 21 million total supply. That's it. You're only ever going to have 21 million. And so by the fact of typically when buying, the majority of money that comes into crypto ecosystem is coming in through some fiat currency. And there's one truth about fiat. They print it into infinity until that culture or that monetary system collapses. The same thing happened with, let's see. Let me look at this. History of world reserve currency. Let's see if I can pull this graphic up fairly quickly. And that is this right here. And this is exactly what we're looking at. This is what we need to realize. This right here. These are different global currency reserves. And they have, about 100-ish years, 150 years. And we see this. You have this rise in that as a currency. This is Spanish, right? Down. Then you have, I don't know what NL is, maybe Netherlands. And then up and down. And then you have, look at this. France, when they kind of took the dominance down. And then you had the UK. This was that, colonial period, when they were just colonizing the world and they, had a pretty vast empire, had a pretty, a fairly longer sort of instance here. And then you get the US. And look, what are we doing? You have the trend up and the trend down. Have you ever seen the trend up, the trend down, and then continuation? It's never happened because there's new technology, there's new powers, there's new factors at play. And what's happening right now, does this mean I think the dollar is dead forever? No, the dollar is going to be around for the rest of our lifetime. I'm sure of that. The thing is, as it's on its decline, as its money is printed, as it's devaluing every hour that you spend to work, because every time they print or spend money that's unaccounted for, that devalues how much time that you had to spend to earn that money. It means that your time is less valuable. Now you need to work more to get less. That's what money printing is. And most people don't understand this. They just think, oh, things just get a little bit more expensive every year. And we saw that the huge sort of jump that we saw post-COVID because of all the money printing. We printed 80% of the money that's ever existed in the world in the last 5 years. Realize that. It is just astronomically incredible. And that means that our money is going to devalue by that amount of time over the next so many years. We need to be careful about what we're doing right now. We need to make sure that we don't hold ourselves, we pigeonhole ourselves into a situation to where we're just relying on always needing to work. You cannot get ahead unless you are investing in something. And there's other investments out there. I'm not even telling you all, and I expressly am not giving you financial advice. I am not telling you all to sell everything and just buy crypto. I'm saying you need to take advantage of the various different opportunities that are out there. And right now, Bitcoin is, slated to be it is the best asset in the world, but the amount of appetite that's coming for it right now, and you're basically still having that early adopter opportunity. So just know that when we are looking at this, and this is just ready to get going. So let's talk about it. This is where we're at. Post-halving, we're about 197 days, I think, post-halving right now. This is about when we have really started to move to the upside. Where are we at? And when we compare the last two cycles, right there, that pink line, we're right on track. Now, if we get a sell-off, you know what? I want you to realize if we get a sell-off and we drop down to 52,000 and really then break that low and go down to 49, I think anything down in that area will be the buy of a lifetime if that were to happen. So you just need to understand what your time horizon is and what your conviction is if you're willing to buy. If you're buying now and it drops, that doesn't mean capitulate. If you're trading it on a very small time frame, yeah, take the shorts, take the longs, all that. But if you are buying thinking I'm going to make money on this over a period of time, then you don't buy now and then sell tomorrow. You try to make sure that you have your strategy in place so you're not reacting emotionally. Now, continuing on, abysmal jobs numbers. This is that damn thing I was looking for earlier. Abysmal job numbers and revisions lower to previous numbers, 12K versus 100K, expected November rate cut. So rate cut, I think that will be good. Bitcoin ETFs are the hottest products on the street. Lower rates plus huge inflows. Don't fade Larry Fink. They have just been buying. I think they had another 13,000 Bitcoin buy yesterday. And then continuing on, I said this yesterday. I posted this yesterday evening, I believe. OTC desks are currently, and this does not mean this is a fixed number. I want y'all to realize this. There's not only 30 billion that could ever be on the over-the-counter desk, meaning not buying from an exchange. You're buying it through a basically private party desk, so it doesn't affect price when you're doing a large buy. That's what OTC means. There's currently $30 billion in Bitcoin on OTC desks. And I said, Saylor just announced to buy $42 billion in Bitcoin for MicroStrategy. This doesn't account for when Microsoft adds Bitcoin to their balance sheets. Then as dominoes fall, Apple, Nvidia, Meta, Netflix, Amazon, so on and so forth. We are still so early. Do you all realize, is Bitcoin's price high? You ask yourself, is Bitcoin's price high when you have another asset like Berkshire Hathaway, which trades over $600,000 a stock, and you have to buy the stock as a whole? Now with Bitcoin, think about it. Okay, maybe it goes up to 600,000. Now, is that going to be expensive? Well, there's going to be a distinct difference between Bitcoin and Berkshire Hathaway if they're both at $600,000. And that Bitcoin you buy, basically it's not near infinite, but near infinite sort of fractionalized amount. If you want to buy $10 worth, buy $10 worth. If you want to buy $100 worth, at $10,000 worth. If you want to buy a whole Bitcoin, you don't have to buy the Bitcoin. You can buy whatever fractional amount that you want, up to 100 decimal points. So understanding this and realizing that we have the flood that is just about to come, and consider that right now under about 5% of the world retail is in. What about when they arrive? What does that sort of demand? And all of these major institutions and corporations and pension funds and state governments, what does that demand do? What does demand do to price when supply is severely limited and the world wakes up to needing Bitcoin, not just wanting it? This is what people are starting to realize, and we're on that path right now. Shout out Gabby, how you doing? Bab Fox, Veteran Crypto, Miss Tater, Andy D. We got the whole tribe in here. Shout out to everybody that's in the room. Now, continuing on, this is what 2 days ago now? Potential bull flag. I have a feeling a washout could catch emotional traders off guard. I gave the target, and what did the price action do? Let's come back over to that chart. Zooming in, let's go to the 2 hour and look at that. This was that same flag. We had the fake breakout, and then now the washout to the downside. And now look at this washout, basically pump back to the upside, and now washout right back to the downside. And look where this went. It went right up into where these previous range lows were, right here from this zone. So this is telling us there's a little bit of uncertainty, and I expect between now and I would say Wednesday or Thursday next week, it's probably going to be a pretty damn choppy trading environment. So do not get captured by this dropping. Oh my God, because we have the next level down. The next level down is right down. I mean, we could do two. I'm trying to make my charts clear. Is Crypto Crank in the house, by the way? Let me know if he's in here. I don't think he was in here yesterday. I cleaned up my charts for him and everything. But there's two different levels I'm watching. This rising level of support from this zone back here starting in September, and then rejection, and then support, kind of loose support. So if we do get a washout, I'm watching this basically zone, the 67, let me move this down a little bit. The 67 to 67.5 zone is sort of, I don't want to say the last line in the sand, but on this very bullish sort of pullback, this would still be quite a bullish pullback into the zone. If we lose this, then ultimately what I really want to see is I'd like to see price action hold above $60 to $61,000 to maintain very near-term strong bullish sentiment. If this comes down and starts losing this zone, you start changing the narrative a bit, which could be a trap. But what we need to watch for right now is just what's happening in this market, and not in terms of what we need to watch our emotions right now in terms of what's happening in this market, so we don't get triggered by, oh my God, the bull market's over. Everybody, we know what's going on here. Where is that chart? We are on the precipice of that next move. It's going to do everything it can to shake you out. So let's be mindful right now of that. Now coming down, Ethereum Look at this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Just when you're kind of zooming on this, and you realize that we got this horizontal range that we're trading within, and this descending level of resistance that is now starting to garner some resistance into the price action we're watching in this zone. And look at this. If we measure this out, the apex of this would be around November, what does this say? November, basically the end of the month, November 26th. We have the full moon, and we don't trade on moon cycles, but we have seen over the last cycle or so, when you get full moons, it somehow lines up with the oscillation of bullish and bearish sort of narrative. And the full moon is November 5th. I think it's November 15th. That will also be a notable several days after, hopefully, we get a decision on the election. Again, regardless of what direction it goes, we want a decision. The markets want certainty. So we've got between here and here to basically fulfill this apex, and nothing will have changed. Now, if we break out of this, great. I'm watching for a retest and not basically a fake out coming back down. I really don't want to see this because this is going to wreck a lot of people. Right? Because this traps everybody long, wrecks them when it goes short, traps everybody short, wrecks them, comes back. And then you finally get a little bit of like clarity and a little bit a cleaner sort of open interest in derivatives landscape where not everybody's over leveraged. But as it stands right now, we're looking at this on Ethereum, and I actually have the charts. I think it's right here. No, that's not it. Right here. Right here. That $2,400 support means everything for Ethereum. Ethereum is testing key support zone at 2,400. If this level holds, we might see ETH aiming for the current, for the channel's upper boundary near $6,000. Now, this is, I think Ethereum will get up to 6,000, but I think that's an irrelevant conversation right now. And I'm not saying Ali's. I love Ali charts. He's always got great stuff. I'm saying people see this and they get frustrated in 3 weeks if it's still down here. This very well could just be down here for, all the way through November. But if we hold this lower level and also this moving average that we have right here, and we hold this zone, then things are starting to look a lot more bullish for ETH and then subsequently the broader altcoin market as well. In addition to that, some other really bullish news that we have going on in Chainlink? Guys, Chainlink, I feel like is setting up to melt faces. So sell your dollars. If you got dollars doing nothing, this is not financial advice. This is hypothetical. But when I see this and I see that Chainlink is so undervalued right now, let's look at Chainlink. Chainlink, zooming out, look at this. I mean, its all-time high was up here in the 50s, about 55, 54 bucks. And the price action on Chainlink has come, boom, all the way down here to about $5, right? 89% drawdown. But from that all-time high, we're still down about 75%. Okay. And the amount of developments and announcements that I've seen on Chainlink in the last 2 months even has been astounding. And when we look at this, Chainlink's runtime environment, the CRE, and this essentially is showing, it's not just saying this is bigger. This is saying this was C-Bull. 1970, 1990s. This included essentially Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, Citi, Wells Fargo, and then it expanded in 1990s to 2010s. You had Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Swift, Deutsche Bank, Charles Schwab. This is the Java runtime environment. But this is today, this encompasses all of this and more because it encompasses the large majority of the crypto ecosystem and other things outside of the financial system that also include data, that also includes scores, that also includes, weather data. I mean, there's so many different things that Chainlink is integrating with, supporting, participating in, and servicing that I mean, guys, I am so bullish on Chainlink. Let's look at Chainlink's market cap. Let's LINK, pull it up. Yeah. Okay. Now let's go to market cap. Let's go to all. Okay, so where we are back here, the market cap back here was about, and do you notice this? The market cap at Chainlink was 20 billion. Do you guys realize Dogecoin went to 80 billion last cycle? Chainlink only hit 20 billion. So even considering this was a high, I think this is so undervalued. This is probably the most undervalued crypto in the ecosystem. Although, yes, does it have a market cap of 7 billion? Sure. But when you consider what it's doing, what it's building into, what it's integrating, what it's servicing, and how integrated it is across not only the crypto ecosystem, but also in a way, a bridge between Web 2, let's call it the analog world, although it's digital. It's the Web 2 world and Web 3, as well as integrating everything in Web 3. This is so undervalued. And so looking at this right here, we can look at price as well. It's not like there's been a huge amount of emissions in supply either. Total supply, 1 billion tokens. And if anybody's wondering where you buy it, you just come down right here. You click on markets on any of your coins. You see Binance, Uniswap, Coinbase, of course, Bybit, OKX. It's on most things because this is, again, I think this is so undervalued. Now, coming back over here, let's go through a couple other coins and let's talk about it. In your opinion, does Chainlink have more serious competition this time? I don't think so. I don't think anybody can really compete with what Chainlink's doing because you have other Oracle plays, but Chainlink is an Oracle play that also is being wrapped in, and I think they're going to be heavily used in real ways for real world asset tokenization. But in addition to them tokenizing assets as well, they'll also be providing data to other tokens that are RWAs. So they're kind of like multi-threaded and multifaceted and all these different means and mechanisms that they can be utilized for and hold value because of. So I think there's not a coin out there that really can compete with Chainlink in that field. Now, the other ones have great oracles, Pith and other ones as well. But Chainlink is just very uniquely positioned, and they've got an incredible team. And I feel like they're getting positive looks from BlackRock and stuff like that. Now, I'm not a big fan of BlackRock, but when I look at this as an investor, it's very bullish if BlackRock's going to get involved with Link because that's going to drive a huge amount of capital flow and interest and eyes and attention on that asset. So let's pay attention to what's going on. But this is what I'm looking at right now. Some think Pith is a better buy than Link. Well, you know what? Here's the deal. The question on that is, MJ, it's a good point. The dissection of that is this. Are you looking for massive gains in a very short period of time? Are you looking for good, but remember also much higher risk? Or are you looking for what are still going to be comparatively with every asset class in the world, still pretty huge gains, but a huge amount of a huge reduction in the amount of risk that you're taking on? So the balance has to be for each individual person that's buying, trading, selling, getting involved in crypto. I mean, I know people that bought crypto once and they say they're a trader. People don't even understand the terms of the things they're involved with, okay? So I think people see other people have made money and they think that's how easy it is. I've made money in this market, but I've also lost a hell of a lot of money because I made stupid decisions. It took a lot of losses before I could really stack wins. And it's just like anything, I think, in the world. If you're going to play guitar, you got to play 10,000 hours. And then you're a boss on guitar. If you want to be an ice skater, you can't just go watch a YouTube video. You have to fall and fall and fall and get up and fall until you master it. Same thing with investing and trading, which is specifically why I started BitLab Academy, this channel, and, rebuilt the whole back end of the education program over at lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. We got a whole academy there. There's a link. Get 15 days free, I think 30-something% off the membership for life. And if you want to upgrade and get the full courses and the indicators and all that, you can get that. But my purpose was I saw how many things that I messed up along the way early in my crypto journey. And I was like, you know what? I'm articulate. I've been on stage my whole life, hosted radio shows, toured the world as a DJ, toured the country as a singer, wrote books, studied anthropology at Kellam University. I can put thoughts together. So I was like, and I've been in crypto since 2016. So that's why I was like, you know what? I'm going to share my journey. I'm going to share things I've learned, things that I messed up, so I can help shortcut people, because there is some shortcutting available if you're willing to learn and apply the things you learned versus just saying, no, I know if I just throw my $10,000 I have in this coin, this meme coin somebody told me about, I'm going to be rich. No, you're going to lose that money. You got about a 0.0001% chance of that coin hitting. Now, if you can diversify a portfolio, stack into a broader range of assets. If you're going to hold one coin, you hold Bitcoin. That's it. If you're going to hold a broader range of assets, then you can look to getting a wider range. That's why I have Chainlink. This was way down here. Remember everybody about a month ago? And I was like, why do I have so much belief in Chainlink, thinking it's one of those blue chips, and it's so far down in my allocation? So I stacked into it. And then it also pumped a little bit, but I stacked into it. So now it's my largest allocation. BitTensor is my second largest allocation here. This is the altcoin position portfolio that I've been telling you all about. Aerodrome, very tied with Coinbase. So I feel pretty safe about what's going to happen with Aerodrome because Coinbase Ventures is involved with it, processing all their not only the DEX on the base chain, and the base chain is exploding with interest and volume and transactions, but also Coinbase will be all their wrapped Bitcoin they're doing. Think institutions, think the potential DeFi. That's all going to be transacted and processed through Aerodrome Finance. That's why that Ondo tied in. We've talked about this a lot, but you see, there's a broad range of things. So if any 2 or 3 of these fail, I'm still good, right? So we need to be very safe about what we're doing right now because we are on the precipice of that next move. What do we see in Ethereum? We saw that constricting sort of formation here. Very similar to what we saw. What was it? Sideways, also with the descending sort of parallel symmetrical triangle. Same thing. I just didn't draw the lines on here. Let's do it. Option J. And this one's looking a little more bullish because it's starting to creep up here. You see? So we're watching. I've been talking about this, breaking above this $13 mark. We're watching $15 mark and so on and so forth. But I don't expect this to break and go straight here and then up. I expect this, if this does break out, probably a little work, maybe up, come down, retest, scare people, come up. The markets take work. Everybody thinks the market goes like this and then like this. I'm going to catch the bottom this round and I'm going to sell the top. Sorry to tell you, if we have 10,000 people watching this right now, probably maybe one would do that. And that would be a lottery system. You're going to buy regionally around the bottom and you're going to start taking profits in this section here because you don't know when the true top's going to be. I have a chart. Let me search Kellam market cycle cheat sheet. You can take a photo of this if you want. Save it it's in the BitLab Academy as well, but I broke this down. And this basically really shows you what's going on, how you can start to identify a bottom. You don't buy, let me take my face off. You don't buy down there in that bottom left corner. You don't buy down here. You can try, but you need to do this with conviction. Unfortunately, most people don't have conviction. I bought down here in this last cycle, this last market cycle low. It's actually more about right in here. But what you really want, it's okay to miss this move. Wait for the pullback, that breakout confirmation. And on this, basically the volume comes in and it starts to make this breakout. This is where you enter. Excuse me. And this is where you start to exit. How can you tell? And maybe you missed it. Oh my God, I missed it. It's going down. Okay, well, you're getting this large impulse, smaller impulse. Now you have, okay, you didn't get out there because it's still going to go up and it goes down. Okay, do you capitulate there? No, you wait for a retrace and you get out there. This right here, do you realize this move, had you not gotten out of here like professionals do, if this rolls over on this move back up, is likely roughly about that same area you would have gotten out of on this zone right here on the way up. So when you understand the market cycle, you can identify the areas to mitigate your risk and try and take as much risk on as possible, but really take advantage of the swings in the market. But let me delete those two things. Keeping the charts clean, that's my motive right now. But yeah, Chainlink, but then also Solana. We talked about this the other day. It came up into the zone. It's pulling back. This is starting to look a little bit weaker. Why is this looking weaker? This is Solana. This is looking weaker because, yes, it rejected at a level. That's not what makes it look weak. What makes it look weak is if you look down here. What is that? BitLab Trading Stack. We can see that we have the VWAP, volume weighted average price, broke back below the zero line and is angled downward, showing sort of an intention to move price down. Now, is that going to happen? We'll have to see. Maybe they're trying to trick us out, but we can also see stochastics and the RSI. The stochastic, orange, and the RSI, purple, both angled down. Momentum wave, angled down. Bearish signal, neutral, neutral, bearish, bearish. So 4 out of the 6 quick look dashboard signals. That basically, these are looking at the positioning and angles of all this data over here. So very quick look. We're not seeing anything other than positive money flow that is saying, yeah, this is about to rocket. So I'm watching for this, a little bit of chop in this zone, but likely retest back down in here. And then we'll have to revisit if this can't hold this area. But in terms of, this is a short time frame. When we look in the long time frame, this is bullish as it can be. Look at this. Uptrend, little pullback, uptrend, consolidation like we've seen since the top that we had in Bitcoin. We've been consolidating sideways. So everybody's waiting on that risk signal on Bitcoin to really start to make that move. We've had the consolidation sideways. This is the halving right here. We got, let's get down to the 6 hour. So we had to move up, fake out, move down, fake out to our target with the wick below. Look at that candle body close. I just noticed this on the 6 hour. Candle body close exactly on the target that we had outlined. And then look at this. The bulls ate this back up. We get a little bit of a kind of reversal indication, an attempt, but look at this. Bulls tried, bears tried. We're getting now weakness here, which is starting to signal, I would argue, they're starting to signal, if this closes like this, there's still an hour and 41 minutes. If this were to close like this, I would expect this to come back and test this, and we either W formation or we break below. So what does it look like on smaller time frames? 24-minute. W formation, up, back down, back up. This is just sitting here, shaking people out because everybody is so excited right now. Everybody's so excited. It's the most anticipated bullish breakout expectation I think the market's ever held because one, the number of people in the market, two, the amount of knowledge that people have learned. And I think a lot of people, they don't take into account the broader picture. They think they understand 4-year cycles because they're halving and they go, well, it's going to go up now. And then they buy and then it starts moving down. So they sell and then it reverses and goes back up. Well, I don't want to miss it. And they don't chop yourself out. Yeah. Is my, says to fix the internet speeds, try rebooting the modem and the router. I do that once a week here at my house because of that. Am I lagging or something? I hope I'm not. He said, I'm going to take my alt profits and buy real estate. You know, here's the deal. I'm not going to be dogmatic about crypto. Some people are like, you got like Bitcoin, buy and hold forever. You got life to account for. You got weddings, anniversaries, houses, housing problems. Say your roof gets broken from a storm, vehicles, issues, medical. Make money, make capital, make your assets grow and appreciate so that you can affect your life to have more time to spend it in a meaningful way. Whether it's having an arts and crafts room in your house and you want to, do stuff or do art, or you want to buy a guitar and play music, or take your wife on a trip, or whatever it is, whatever you need to do to improve your life, but do it. Think about this moving forward. If I'm spending this, what's the cost benefit of this being spent? Now, if you need a house, that's a great benefit. You own the house. Now you no longer have house payments. So now you can start reallocating, having basically set that same money aside that you already used to, AKA programmed to pay a rent or a mortgage that you were doing before. You pay that off. Don't not use that anymore. Still allocate that same amount towards just putting it directly back into investments. That's what this is about. Utilize the skills that you have so that you can take advantage of the opportunities that are present, man. But I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Let me just make sure I didn't get any super chats or anything. Falco with the 5 get to memberships. I'm going to run because I'm going to have to take my cousin to the airport here in a little bit. That's why I'm streaming from home today, but I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I would say sit on your hands this weekend. if there's nothing else, sit on your hands. And I do want to say, I do want to shout out our channel sponsors, nordvpn.com/BitLab. You get 4 months rent-free. Is that rent-free? You get 4 months free if you sign up for NordVPN at nordvpn.com/BitLab. It's an absolute must in this day and age to have a VPN to protect yourself from all those different cyber criminals, whether it's in crypto or banking or just, basically personal information. All that can be tracked back to you when you're not using a VPN. So nordvpn.com/BitLab. And of course, CoinW, if you want to trade with us, we've been having some different trades and signals and charts and setups and all that over there at the Signals Lab. And that is directly below the video right here. If you're watching on YouTube, join our free traders group. Boom. It's also right here, pinned comment. There's a link you can join. And then, of course, if you're watching on Twitter, by the way, see how many people we got retweeting. Let's see. Retweet. Make sure you're heading over here if you're on Twitter, directly below. Where's it at? Directly. I don't know where it's at. Is the video not live streaming? Right here. Directly below. I don't know. Directly below the video, you'll see the link. The link there. I'll post it here. Yeah, I thought I had it posted. Let me pull this up. Copy. Boom. 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 There's the information right there. The 2 links. Great way to support us. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to be doing a stream this weekend with Kevin Svensson. So keep your eyes open for that. I hope you all have a wonderful day. We got a great year end coming. I can feel it. Stay positive. Let's be positive with everybody we see and meet in the street, and afford people a little bit more time and space. If somebody's being a jackass or mean or rude, realize they're probably just having a bad day. You don't need to then tune into that shitty attitude and reflect that back, also amplifying that into the world. And I fail at that half the time. I'll tell you right now, but I'm telling myself as much as I'm telling anybody else. But again, I love you guys. I appreciate you. That's all I got. Adios. Let's head over to Blockchain Basement and chat in there before that show starts. That's all I got. Bye-bye.